What I'm about to tell y'all I haven't heard before, so I doubt you have either. Caitlin Clark has done is grown the WNBA exponentially. She did in 5 weeks what would have taken 5 years. And as it pertains to draft viewership, she did in 5 days what would have taken 5 years.
The WNBA is unable to cope with Caitlin Clark's absence. Last week, the Fevers were eliminated from the playoffs. And the NBA's attendance, ticket sales, and viewership have all alarmingly declined.
Look at this little chart right here. The Fever will have over 600,000 fans in attendance total this year. And the second best to that was in 1999 with the Washington Mystics at just over 400,000. So the Fever are going to account for over 200,000 more fans this year to their game.
A.A. Wilson is currently being promoted widely by the WNBA in an effort to draw viewers, but regrettably it's not functioning.
Caitlin's departure, do we think that these new WNBA fans are going to stick around for the rest of the playoffs? The Liberty Aces series might be one that draws some numbers. The disparity between 1.8 million and around 400,000 is wild, especially with football season being in full swing.
Fans are aware that Caitlin's absence is problematic. Others think it an opportunity for her to get better media training because they think her responses to controversy haven't been adequate.
I want to be in this situation next year where I'm saying, do you remember when you people were giving her grace, saying that she's 22, media training is not there? 1 year afterwards, she's still in the same position.
Returning to Caitlin supporters, they have just ceased watching the WNBA after the vitriol she was getting and the prejudice she faced during the major games. And now that she's gone, they can't handle it and have now come to understand what the Caitlin Clark effect actually is. WNBA will have to battle their way through the playoffs as Caitlin finally unwinds and puts her feet up, despite their best efforts to displace even half of the spectators. Caitlin would have been pushed, prodded, and smashed to the ground by multiple other players without any fouls being called. As a result, despite her outstanding performance, Caitlin was not given a third game against the Sun.
Number of viewers for WNBA games that Caitlin Clark is not in is like 3 to 4 million. When she's in the game, when it's her game playing, it's like 17 million.
Yeah. Well, I also look at the attendance in the arena.
Yes.
It's 8 to 10,000 everywhere else. Caitlin Clark, 17, 18,000.
Over the years, the WNBA has experienced ups and downs, but it's no secret that since. When Caitlin Clark joined the league, everything changed drastically. The WBA had been longing for this level of excitement and attention, and her impact was immediate, not only in terms of her dominance on the court, but also in terms of how she drew fans, media attention, and casual viewers. Caitlin
Clark, she is the first Division I player, and that is male or female, to record 3,000 points, 900 assists, and 800 rebounds.
Clark is a sensation who is more than just a famous athlete, gave the league new life. But now that her season is over and the team lost to the Connecticut Sun, the league is finding it difficult to sustain the momentum she created without her. It appears as though the WNBA has reached a breaking point and is unable to recreate the enthusiasm that Clark's presence brought.
All the women that have been calling for the equality, and now that there is the chance for them to start getting paid more because the exposure's up. Because it's her, you have people like, what's her name, Jamelia Hill or what? I can't stand her.
Yeah.
You got these women who are coming on here and they're saying it's because she's...
The WNBA has actually utterly collapsed in a number of areas, and it's now evident that Caitlin, let's face it, without Clark, the WNBA is missing its spark and the numbers back it up. Predictions going into this playoff season had anticipated strong numbers, especially following Clark's breakout regular season. People who didn't normally tune into women's basketball suddenly became glued to their screens, eagerly waiting to see what Clark would do next, wishing that the excitement Clark created during the season would continue into the postseason, resulting in a spike in. To put things in perspective, when Caitlin Clark performs, she regularly attracts over 1 million viewers. Yes, 1 million people tune in just to watch her, but those projections didn't come to pass. Instead, since her departure, the stadiums aren't as packed as anticipated, and the TV ratings have plummeted. This level of attendance is almost unprecedented for the WNBA in recent years, as the league had historically had trouble drawing in such large audiences. People planned their calendars around her performances, so they could see her live, either in person or observing from home. However, the league is now finding it difficult to sustain that enthusiasm without Caitlin. When Clark is on the court, people want to watch her style of play because of her personality and ability to deliver in clutch situations, which makes her an athlete that transcends the sport. However, when she is not playing, it seems like no one cares. The WNBA can hardly reach 300,000 viewers per game, which is a startling drop in viewership that speaks volumes about her importance and influence. Caitlin Clark.
There is a Caitlin Clark effect on all of basketball, and especially on women's basketball ratings. Kudos to her. She has elevated an entire sport in viewership.
The league, which was flourishing when she was playing, just doesn't have the same degree of excitement. It seems to be limping now as it approaches the finish line. Clark is more than just a fantastic player. She is a unique athlete that people can't get enough of. When that phenomenon isn't present, interest quickly wanes, making it difficult for the WNBA to garner the kind of attention it had during her breakthrough season. Sure, she can score from anywhere, drop dimes with accuracy, and dominate games by herself, but her influence extends well beyond the stat sheet. Few people are able to transcend the sport like Caitlin Clark does. She can infuse any game she participates in with a degree of energy, excitement, and unpredictableness that you don't. Caitlin Clark is a spectacle, not just a player, which is why her games attract sold-out stadiums and why millions of people watch from home. You never know what she's going to do next, but you know whatever it is, it's going to be something extraordinary.
Caitlin Clark is coming. Some people think she's already arrived. I don't. I think she's going to be even better. I think that what she has done for women's basketball, especially in this country, has been phenomenal. There is no woman, no matter how great you were as a player, Cheryl Swoops, there is no woman who should negate mentioning Caitlin Clark and what Caitlin Clark is doing for the game.
Simply state that she exudes an indisputable charm. She doesn't merely. Playing basketball, she always puts on a show with her deep three-pointers, fearless demeanor, and no-look passes. Clark has a unique ability to make every game feel like an event that you don't want to miss, and fans love it. They feed off her energy, passion, and unwavering drive to win. However, when she's not on the court, the WNBA loses that magnetism. Without Clark, the league becomes less of a spectacle and more of simply another basketball game. And regrettably, even the most ardent WNBA fans don't pay as much attention to that. Without her, fans find it more difficult to remain involved because of the irreplaceable spark she offers. And when she stops playing, the excitement fizzles out, leaving a conspicuous gap that no other player or team appears to be able to fill.
Caitlin Clark, #1 in jersey sales, Angel Reese 2, Sabrina 3, Kate Martin 4. We talked about this earlier in the season. I feel sad that Kate Martin also hasn't gotten as much playing time the second half of the season. I feel like she deserves more, or maybe she deserves a different team. How crazy would that be if she went to Indiana? Just saying.
What aggravates fans even more about this predicament is the way the WNBA appears to treat Caitlin Clark when she plays. You would assume that a player of her caliber, attracting large audiences and elevating the league, would be recognized and safeguarded on. However, that hasn't always been the case. On numerous occasions, referees have treated Caitlin unfairly by declining to grant her. Instead of acknowledging her skill and guaranteeing a level playing field, she rarely seems to get the same calls that other players in the league would readily receive, whether she's being fouled on perimeter or hacked on drives that are shoved in the paint. Given how crucial Clark is to the league's success, playing field officials have continuously permitted her to be treated like the issue on the court. This disrespect from the referees is perplexing. It seems as though the WNBA is unaware that she is their greatest asset rather than promoting, and they permit their rising star be mistreated in order to protect her. Even worse, the league doesn't want her to be successful. Concerned for the detrimental effects of this treatment, fans are aware of this and are fed up with it. They can tell when a player is being unfairly singled out, and the ongoing prejudice against Caitlin has made many of them lose faith in the league, rather than encouraging the passion and devotion that Clark brings to the WNBA. This abuse is driving fans away, leading them to wonder about the league's goals. Although Clark supporters are fiercely devoted, they are equally tired of the bigotry and abuse Caitlin experiences on the referees, who appear to be more harsh on her than anybody else, or from opposition players who single her out on the court, or even the league itself. It frequently seems like there is a plot against her, Rather than honoring their biggest star, the WNBA appears to tolerate unfair treatment. And as a result, many fans have reached their breaking point and have stopped watching. Why would anyone want to support a league that makes a concerted effort to discredit its most talented and marketable player?
Swoops all y'all other haters out there, and I'm gonna call you out, man, because it's blatantly obvious why you hating on the young lady. If she was black, man, everybody be going crazy about Caitlin Clark right now, but she not. And what I appreciate about it is just that she ain't stereotypical.
After Caitlin's elimination from the playoffs, supporters decided to boycott WNBA games for reasons other than her absence from the postseason. It's about the underlying idea. They've seen how she's been treated throughout the season, with officials showing bias and the league offering no protection. Now, they're stating that fans won't use a product that doesn't support or protect its best star without Caitlin. Many fans feel cut off from the WNBA, and this is seen in the sharply declining viewership figures. Clark's fan base is loyal to her, not to the league overall. Without her participation, they have little incentive to keep watching, and it demonstrates how the NBA's failure to treat Caitlin fairly has caused a backlash that is currently affecting it. Bottom line, the harsh truth is that the WNBA will suffer greatly without Caitlin Clark. Prior to her arrival, the league frequently struggled to keep its mainstream attention. Sure, there were well-known players and a devoted fan base, but the general public's interest was lacking, and the league frequently found itself eclipsed by other sports and found it difficult to enter the larger discourse. Caitlin Clark altered every performance, but now that she's gone, the WNBA is reverting to its previous state of fighting to attract the attention of the public. It is evident that Kate Clark has single-handedly reinvigorated the WNBA. And without her, the league is once again facing an uphill struggle. The interest that previously spiked during Clark's games has now waned, and the league is struggling with a lack of energy.
Looks like we're not going to be seeing Caitlin Clark play basketball again for another 200 days. An ESPN reporter said at the end of the Indiana Fever Connecticut Sun Game 2 that Caitlin Clark almost definitely will not be playing basketball this offseason. So no overseas and no 3-on-3 unrivaled.
Just Clark's presence can bring about change. The story to make the WNBA a topic of discussion. But if the league permits her to be treated disrespectfully by referees and by a lack of league support, they run the risk of losing everything she has created for them. The league's failure to adequately safeguard and promote its biggest star could cause it to revert to its previous level of relevance, undoing all the advancements Clark has made for them. The WNBA must also acknowledge that Caitlin Clark is more than simply a fantastic basketball player. She is the face of the league's future, bringing in crowds and filling arenas. Without her, the league would probably revert to the difficulties it had before her arrival. Clark has completely transformed the. Despite all of this, Caitlin Clark's season was nothing short of historic. She broke records in almost every category imaginable, including shooting percentages, pulling up from deep three-point range, and threading the needle with flawless passes. If the WNBA doesn't take the required actions to support her, they risk losing everything she's built. Her game on ION still averages 1.26 million viewers, which is really impressive. Clark changed the definition of being a dominant player in the. It's perplexing to witness such a generational shift in the WNBA. Her performances weren't just outstanding, they were revolutionary. The WNBA's powers treat talented players with contempt or disregard. Rather than supporting Clark and utilizing her as a symbol of the league's development, she is frequently portrayed as a problem on the court with unfair officiating or in media narratives that fail to acknowledge her contributions. This treatment must end, and the WNBA must quickly realize that Caitlin Clark is their key to mainstream success. Without her, the league faces dangers. Redescending into the absence of light, the WNBA must safeguard and promote its biggest star, Caitlin, if it hopes to endure and prosper. Clark, if you liked it, please like and subscribe. There are now more videos available.